Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Experience. It is 3:04 a.m. I've been thinking about doing this video, and I said, you know what, let me just do it before I go to bed, because I always talk about the Wizard of Oz, all right, and how believers, particularly my people, black people, how white supremacists and operate under the system of white supremacy have engaged in warfare against us that we tend to not want to acknowledge us, and it's because we cannot see it, right? We tend to look at racism on a basis of a very limited knowledge, right? We don't think about those scientists that wake up every single day, thinking of ways to manipulate us, to destroy us, to reduce our population, not only here in the United States and the West, but also in the world. We don't think about the exploitation, the continued exploitation of black people through our music, through our inventions, through financial theft, underpay, you know, making us sick so we can put money into a system that will continue to make us sick. All right. So we have to understand the totality of white supremacy and what it is. You know, Neely Fuller. If you go to YouTube and you search Neely Fuller, you will understand a little bit more about white supremacy and what it has done and continue to do to us. Now, when I talk about also my targeting and the things that are being done, the cognitive warfare, the neurocognitive warfare, the manipulation tactics. Okay, so I just went onto Google and I typed in the Wizard of Oz tell how those with technology can manipulate those who are believers. And I'm going to read this. All right. And I'm going to stop at a certain part because I need y'all to understand that we're not dealing with one man who is not powerful. We're dealing with a multitude of individuals who are powerful, who uses technology. Okay? See, the only difference is in The Wizard of Oz, the movie, that man, he was still powerful. Right? Now think about it. This movie was in the 1930s, I believe. Right? So to the people of Oz, he was powerful because he was able to manipulate them, right? By hiding technology from them. So when they say, "Oh, he's just an ordinary man, he's not powerful," that that's just the movie that's trying to manipulate your mind into thinking those who have technology and use technology to manipulate us are not powerful. They're powerful enough to create the technology. Okay, they're powerful enough to manipulate us with those technology, and not only technology but psychological operation. Uh, a whole host of things that used to manipulate us with. Okay, so we need to understand that. So, in The Wizard of Oz, the wizard manipulates believers by using technology and the theatrical, no, theatrically to project a terrifying image of himself, concealing the fact that he is just an ordinary, powerless man. He exploits the power of a strong reputation, crafted through deception, to command loyalty and instill fear in the people of Oz. Now, this is what the church do. The very same people that gave you your religion. whether you're, and this is what the wealthy imams did when it comes to Islam. Okay, you look at other religious organization, the use of money, influence, belief system gives them the power, because if they have millions of followers who are willing to follow what it is that they're trying to do, no question asked, have this blind faith, preach one thing while doing something else. But because the people who are the believers are ignorant to the fact, and they just will, they're so manipulated that they themselves can't see the manipulation. That's what blind loyalty is about. That's what blind faith is about. Okay? As I said, blind faith, near part to the pop music and their sirens. That's right. That is what blind faith is about. All right? So, manipulation by illusion and misinformation. The story illustrates how a lack of verifiable information and an over reliance on a powerful unseen authority allow manipulation to succeed. Theatrical technology creates false power. The wizard uses pyrotechnics, smoke flames, and a large disembowelment head projected onto a screen to create a terrifying and supernatural persona. This technological spectacle is a con artist's greatest tool, making him appear great and powerful to the powerful citizens of the Emerald City. Secrecy protects the illusion. The wizard enforced a strict policy of non interaction, isolating himself in this place to prevent anyone from getting close enough to discover his ruse. Now, this is what the white supremacists have been doing to black people, keeping out of the technology, keeping us out of the technological field, keeping us out of medicine, keeping us out of physics, keep us out of nuclear science, keep us out of psychology. I understand what I'm saying. Using technology that they hide from us, that can manipulate our minds. And because we don't know anything about it, because they can program us at any time, not only through the churches, but while we're in our homes, while we're out at work, while we're walking the streets. All right. So the people fear of his power, of his supposed power, keeps them from questioning the illusion, reinforcing his absolute authority. And that's your God. That is the God that they gave you. The fear keeps you from questioning. Okay? And that's what it says. Believers enable their own manipulation. The people of Oz, including Dorothy's companion, are so invested in their belief in the wizard that they willingly participate in the deception. Even after his fraud is exposed, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Lion continue to believe he can grant their wishes. Doesn't that sound like religious people in the churches? Demonstrating how deeply people can cling to a fabricated source of hope. Broader technological and psychological themes. The wizard tactics represents a timeless form of manipulation, showing how belief and reputation can be weaponized against those who are not privy to the truth. All right? There's nothing higher than truth. Your religion is not higher than truth. Okay? Truth is the highest form of enlightenment that you can have. The man behind the curtain model. This core concept has become a well established metaphor in fields like psychology and human computer interaction. The Wizard of Oz experiment is a research method where a human operator controls the system behind the scenes, testing how users interact with a supposedly autonomous technology. All right, so I'm not going to go further into this, but I do want to uh, show you that this is not new. And this is, again, this is when that movie was made, I think it was in the 1930s. Now I'm going to take it way back, okay, to the 1800s. All right, so right here is a document, right? It's an open letter to His Serene Majesty Leopold II, King of the Belgians and Sovereign of the Independent State of Congo, by Colonel the Honorable G.O.W. Williams of the United States of America. Okay. Now, why is a representative from the United States is writing to King Leopold of Belgium? Well, we all know that King Leopold and what he did to the Congolese, right? He murdered over 1 million Congolese. He he amputated a lot of the men and women and children when they did not meet their daily quota of um, rubber. All right, and the other colonial powers, as well as the United States, took his territory. This is when it was carving up Africa, and they took this his territory from him because of how evil and cruel he was. This is a letter, and this is very important because I want to show you guys what they did, just like in the Wizard of Oz, how colonial powers use technology at the time to manipulate African people into becoming uh, believers. This is one aspect of it. Okay? So, good and great friend, I have the honor to submit to your majesty's consideration some reflection representing the independent state of Congo. See here. Based upon a careful study and inspection of the country and character of the personal government you have established upon the African continent, in order that you know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I implore your most gracious permission to address you without restraint and with the frankness of a man who feels that he has a duty to perform to history, humanity, civilization, and to the Supreme Being, who is himself the King of Kings. Your Majesty will testify to my affection to your person and friendship for your African state, of which you have had ample practical proof for nearly 6 years. My friendship and the service of the state of Congo were inspired by and based upon your publicly declared motive and aims, and your personal statement to your humble subscribers. Humane sentiment and works of Christian civilization for Africa. Thus, I was led to regard your enterprise as the rising of the star of hope for the Dark Continent. Now, why did they call it the Dark Continent? It wasn't because Africa wasn't an enlightened continent. Africans were more enlightened than Europeans. Again, go and read the the Golden Stool. All right, let's go and read the Golden Stool. The record of the Ashanti. Forgot the rest of it, but the Golden Stool book. Just Google that. All right. Thus, I was led to regard your enterprise as the rising of the star of hope for the Dark Continent. The reason why they call it the Dark Continent because black people were there. Okay. No other reason. So long the inhabitant of cruelties, and I journeyed in its light and harbor in its hope. All the praiseful things I have spoken and written of the Congo country, state and sovereign, was inspired by the firm belief that your government was built upon the enduring foundation of truth, liberty, humanity, and justice. It affords me great pleasure to avail myself of the opportunity afforded me last year of visiting, as I said last year, using the either the car or siren. It was very short. Couldn't make it out. Of visiting your state in Africa. As I said, your state, prior to the department using the siren in Africa, and how thoroughly I have been disenchanted, disappointed, and disheartened. It is now my painful duty to make known to your Majesty, in plain but respectful language, every charge which I am about to bring against and pour the power and paper. Oh, here we go. Against your Majesty, personal government, in the Congo has been carefully investigated. A list of competent and veracious witnesses, documents, letters, official records, and data have been faithfully prepared, which will be deposited with Her Britannic Majesty's Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs until such time as an international commission can be created with powers to send for persons and papers to administer oath and attest the truth or falsify or falsity of these charges. I crave your Majesty's indulgence while I make a few preliminary remarks before entering upon the specification and charges. Your Majesty's title of the territory of the state of Congo is badly clouded. While many of the treaties made with the natives by the Association Internationale de Congo, of which you were director and banker, were tainted by frauds of the grossest characters. Now, I don't even know why he's just talking about Congo. Okay, because the British had some of the most grossest characters, the French also, the Portuguese also, the Dutch also. I guess the Dutch is the Netherlands, right? So it is nothing, to the fact that, and here in the United States, they were enslaving Africans. But it's interesting how they look at what King Leopold did and his people to the Congolese people as some of the most outrageous, grossest treatment of human beings that they have ever seen. Meanwhile, here in the United States, they were hanging slaves, they were lynching slaves, they were cutting pregnant black women's belly open and hanging them while they were hanged, and then stomping at the head of the fetus as the fetus falls from her stomach. They were feeding black babies to alligators. They created fucking breeding fucking farms, in which they produce millions and millions of black enslaved people. They don't talk about that, do they? They don't talk about that. Do you know what that does to human beings when you intermix and you interbreed within family members? And they produce millions. If you go and you read the history, when slavery ended in the United States, within a decade, right, because of breeding farm, the population of enslaved Africans because slavery was still enacted, but the slave trade had been abolished, but you still had slavery in the colonies. So after that, within a decade, we're talking about 6 to 7 new African enslaved human beings were produced, and and primarily through breeding farms. They don't talk about that because they don't want you to know. Okay, that is one of the most sickest crimes that they could have ever done to human beings. Okay, yeah, fuck you and your spitting sound. They're doing the spitting, projecting the spitting sound. All right, so where was I? The world may not be surprised to learn that your flag floats over territories to which your majesty has no legal or just claim, since other European powers have doubtful claim to the territories which they occupied upon the African continent. But all honest people will be shocked to know to be shocked to know by what groveling means this fraud was consummated. There were instances there were instances in which Mr. Henry M. Stanley sent one sent one white man with 4 or 5 Zanzibar soldiers to make treaties with chiefs. The staple argument was that the white man's heart had grown sick of the wars and rumors of wars between one chief and another, between one village and another. I want you to see how these people use deception and manipulation. This has always been who they are. Okay? Between one village and another, that the white man was at peace with his black brother and desire to confederate all African tribes for the general defense and public welfare. I was about to say public welfare and as I said, the general defense they used to call on, and the public welfare, right? All the sleight of hands tricks has been carefully rehearsed, and he was now ready for his work. Listen to this now. A number of electric batteries had been purchased in London, and when attached to the arm under the coat, communicated with a band of ribbon which passed over the palm of the white brother's hand, and when he gave the black brother a cordial grasp of the hand, the black brother was greatly surprised to find his white brother so strong that he nearly knocked him off his feet by in giving him the hand of fellowship. So in other words, because they had a form of technology that Africans in the Congo have never seen, right? They manipulated the Congolese people, the African people, through deceptive measures and deceptive means to make themselves look and to make the Africans believe that they were so powerful that a handshake from a white man would knock them off their feet. Okay? I'm telling you. All right? When the native inquired about the disparity of strength between himself and his white brother, he was told that the white man could pull up trees and perform the most prodigious, what is it? I pronounce that word. Prodigious feats of strength. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce that right. Next came the Lens Act. The white brother took from his pocket a cigar, carefully, I said a cigar, using the sirens, not sirens, using the car horn, sorry, carefully bit off the end, held up his glass to the sun, and competently smoked his cigar. To the great amazement, the terror, to the great amazement and the terror of his black brother, the white man explained his intimate relation to the sun and declared that he were to request him to burn up his black brother's village. It would be done. Listen to this now. The white man explained his intimate relation to the sun, like he had the power to command the sun, right? And declared that if he were to request him to burn up his black brother's village, it would be done. The third set was the gun trick. The white man took a percussion cap gun, towed the end of the paper which held the powder to the bullet, and poured the powder and paper into the gun. At the same time, slipping the bullet into the sleeves of the left arm. The cap was placed upon the nipple of the gun, and the black brother was imploded to step off 10 yards and shoot at his white brother to demonstrate this statement that he was a spirit and therefore could not be killed. After much begging, the black brother aimed the gun at his white brother, pulled the trigger, and the gun is discharged. The white man stoops, and take the bullet from his shoe. By such means as these, too silly and disgusting to mention, and a few box of gin, whole villages had been signed away to your majesty. In your personal letter to the President of the Republic of the United States of America, bearing date of August 1st, 1885, you said that the possession of the International Association of the Congo will thereafter form an independent state of Congo. I have at the time the honor to inform you and the government of the Republic of the United States of America that authorized by the Belgian legislative chambers to become the chief of the new state, I have taken in accord with the association the title of sovereign of the independent state of Congo. Thus, you assume the headship of the state of Congo and at once organize a personal government. You have named its officers, created its law, furnished its finance, and every act of the government has been clothed with the majesty of your authority. Okay? On the 25th of February, 1884, a gentleman who has sustained an intimate relation to your majesty for many years, and who then wrote as expressing your sentiment, addressed a letter to the United States in which the following language occurs. It may be safely asserted that no barbarous people have ever so readily adopted the fostering care of benevolent enterprise as have the tribes of the Congo. And never was there a more honest and practical effort made to increase their knowledge and secure their welfare. The letter, from which the above is an exception, was written for the purpose of securing the friendly action of the Committee on Foreign Relations, which had under consideration a Senate resolution in which the United States recognized the flag of the Association International de Congo as the flag of a friendly government. The letter was influential because it was supposed to contain the truth respecting the native and the program not only of the association but of a new state, its legitimate successor, and of Your Majesty. When I arrived in the Congo, I naturally sought for the result of the brilliant program, fostering care, benevolent enterprise, and honest and practical effort to increase the knowledge of the native and secure their welfare. I have never been able to conceive of Europeans establishing a government in a tropical country without building a hospital, and yet from the mouth of the Congo River to its headwaters, here at the Seven Cataract, a distance of 1,448 miles, there is not a solitary hospitals for Europeans, and only 3 sheds for sick Africans in the service of the state, not fit to be occupied by a horse. 6 sailors frequently die on board their vessel at Banana Port, and if it were not for the humanity of the Dutch Trading Company at that place, who have often opened their private hospitals to the sick of other communities, many more would die. There is not a single chaplain in the employ of Your Majesty government to console the sick or bury the dead. Your white men sicker and die in their quarters or on the caravan road, and seldom have Christian burials. With few exceptions, the surgeon of Your Majesty's government have been gentlemen of professional ability, in which to treat their patient, the African soldiers and laborers of Your Majesty's government, far worse than the white, because they have no proper quarters, quite as bad as those of the native, and in the sheds called hospitals, they languish upon a bed of bamboo poles without blankets, pillows, or any food different from the servant from that served to them when well, rice and fish. Now I'm not going to read the rest of this because I don't want this video to be too long. But you guys can go and get the document, right? Let me go back to the where am I here? Just another book I was reading. Where am I? Come on. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. So if you want to just Google an open letter to His Serene Majesty King Leopold. And again, I keep saying this, the same mindset. They still have the same mindset today. But we live in modern times where they have spent billions and hundreds of billions, possibly even trillions of dollars developing technology to manipulate us. And also, religion is a tool. This is why I read the synopsis about the Wizard of Oz to give you guys the idea of how religion is used. It is the same thing. They do it in the movies. They've done it in Africa when they divided up Africa, manipulating Africans because of technology that Europeans created, right? And so, even today, when you see how they're trying to dumb us down and to keep us as believers, because we have to be believers. We must be believers. All right? While they're in the sciences, developing technology, weapons to manipulate us, to control us, and have us as believers. And I wanted to read this because I wanted to show you guys that this is nothing new. They have done it in Rome, they've done it in Greece. That is how they were able, by coming into Africa, learning after the African mystery system, right? Educating their population. And a lot of these things, it was the Moors' invention. I would say. I wouldn't even say it's their invention. It was the Moors, black Moors. Okay? But this is what they continue to do to us. And we must understand, and we must open our eyes. We must become a people that know. Stop being a people that believe. Okay? Because for the future generation of our people, our children and their children, we're going to have to find the strength and become awakened to the psychological manipulation through religion, through technology, through money, through miseducation, in order for us to truly come into some form of consciousness as a people. All right. So with that being said, talk to you. Well, before I even say that, this video also for TIs, particularly if you're a religious TI. Understand it's technology. It's not God. It's not some demon or it is technology that's being used. You must come to that understanding. All right. Talk to you guys in the next video.